You know what's weird? Back in like early 2014, I was hoping that at this time of the year I would be loving and wanting to have Amazing Spider-Man 2 on a video like this, but sadly, it's not gonna be there. Because Spider-Man 2 kinda wasn't good. Hello! How's it going, everybody? Welcome to MaffmanJones Movie Reviews. I'm your host, John Maffio. And ever since I've gotten this big boom of subscribers, people have been requesting certain types of videos, and one that really piqued my interest was the top 10 of the year so far. And I haven't seen as many movies as I have in the last 2 years because it's slowed down a bit for me. But I have seen a good amount of movies to the point where I could make a top 10 list for this time. And I'm sure a lot of movies are coming out between now and December that I'm going to love and put on the list at the end of the year. But for now, let's have top 10 movies of the year so far. I don't have an order or a list of like worst to best yet because I think it's too soon. These are just 10 movies that I know I loved. First movie is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. This is the sequel to Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which starred James Franco, and this one stars other people, and it's a continuation of the story, and quite frankly, people were hyped for this movie. I was hyped for it. I saw it, and it surpassed expectations. I thought it was a really good movie. It had a good story, great cinematography and special effects with the apes. If you didn't know any better, you'd think the apes are real, but they're actually people in these mocap suits that went from being like people to being apes through Hollywood transformations, and that's really cool. I mean, I missed the makeup effects that they used to do back in the old school days, but what they're doing now is revolutionary. So it was a really good movie that enhanced cinema in a way, and I'm glad people saw it and loved it. All hail Caesar. Next movie is Godzilla, directed by Gareth Evans. Right? I think that's the right director. I get it mixed up with the other guy who did that other movie that might be on this list. This one starred Aaron Taylor Johnson, Elizabeth Olsen, and Bryan Cranston, and it was basically a reboot because the movie that came out in 1998, I actually enjoyed it, but it essentially was a shitty movie. So we need this new Godzilla movie in our lives. And was it the best Godzilla movie it could have been? No. They teased way too much with Godzilla himself, and it was a very frustrating experience. But as a movie itself, and as an experience of seeing a movie like this for the first time in theaters with that crazy surround sound, loved it. Next on my list is a movie you probably haven't seen or heard of, and if you have, kudos to you. It's called Chef. It's directed by Iron Man director Jon Favreau. And it's a movie about a chef who's down on his luck because he works in a restaurant that limits him on his creativity with food. So he quits that job after a bad review and makes his own food company. And it's one of the best movies I've seen this year. It's amazing. It's really good. It's a really self-contained movie about food. It'll make you hungry for food. And like, really hungry. And oh my god. It's one of those movies that it catches you off guard because you didn't expect to like it as much as you did. And, I mean, I didn't expect to love it as much as I did, but when I saw it, I was two things. I was hungry and very satisfied. And I recommend it to anybody who hasn't seen it. Next on my list is a sequel to a movie that came out a couple years ago. It's called The Raid 2. It's a martial arts movie. And it's also like The Godfather, and it's also like a bunch of other movies because it was influenced by a lot of movies. But, I can't even explain this movie much to you. It's a foreign film, technically speaking, but it's one of the best movies I've seen this year, and perhaps, concerning martial arts, my entire life. The choreography with the action is redonkulous. Like, it's really crazy how some of this looks so real. I'm surprised people didn't die making this movie. If you're a film fan, it's a must-see. Check it out. Next on my list is a movie that I didn't expect to like, or even like, remotely get interested in for that matter. Grand Budapest Hotel, which is directed by Wes Anderson. I'm not a fan of his work prior to this, really. I mean, I respect him as a director and being an auteur, but I never really enjoyed his movies, per se. And then when I saw this movie, as I was watching it, I was like, I'm enjoying this. I would recommend this to anybody, not just film lovers. I think people who don't care about movies could enjoy it too, because it's actually really funny. Next is the first movie of the year that made me go, oh my god. The Lego Movie. It's like has not seen a Lego movie? It's one of those movies that everybody saw this year. It's the fucking Lego movie. My parents went to see it by themselves. That's how crazy that is. My parents don't go to the movies, but they went out to see the Lego movie. Just because it has that Lego trademark on it doesn't mean it's, you know, a detracting thing from it. The Lego is a big, big thing. And to make a movie about Legos and make it a legitimately good movie counts for a lot, and it counts for something amazing. It's one of the funniest movies I've seen of the year, too. The guys who made this made 21 and 22 Jump Street, too, and they go from humor from a rated R movie like that to a movie like this and making it very clever and cryptic and vague in a way where a lot of jokes go over kids' heads, but they're definitely like making fun of things in society. It's amazing. If you haven't seen it, stop watching. Go watch it now. Now! Next is one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen in my entire life. But it's also a great movie. It's called Under the Skin. It stars Scarlett Johansson. She's naked. She's an alien. And the way she captures her prey is to lure them into her warehouse. And it's really hard to explain. But it's like Species, where the girl is, in order to get her prey, she lures them in with her sexuality. And it's like a movie that, like, I can't even really explain it. She's an alien that came from outer space, and she's come to, like, seduce men, but not because she wants to. It's for, like, a mission for aliens. You get to see her boobs, Scarlett Johansson's boobs. Who doesn't want to see that? But the movie itself is just a really, really good movie. What? But there's so many interesting scenes in it. There's one scene that involves a baby, a family, a dog, and the ocean, and it scarred me for life. Like, this movie had scenes in it that made me just sit there and look at the screen going, what the fuck am I watching right now? But Under the Skin, if you haven't seen it and you like movies, definitely check it out. It might scare the shit out of you, but it might also make you think about stuff. Next 3 movies are superhero movies. Now, I haven't had superhero movies in my top 10 list since, really primarily since 2 years ago, because last year was okay with superhero movies. This year was fantastic, aside from Amazing Spider-Man 2. XMen. Days of Future Past. It was one of those movies that was a culmination of everything. It had the best of the previous X-Men movies and the new X-Men movies. The new cast, the old cast, they all come together to stop this force, the Sentinels, these giant robots that are unstoppable. The movie is very emotional. It made me cry. It made me laugh. It made me go, hell yeah! It's one of those, it's a movie, if you're an X-Men fan, if you like the X-Men movies from beginning, from the first one to like what's coming out now with First Class, it satisfies you in every way, and then it also teases a story that's coming up in 2 years from now that people are going to love too. Apocalypse, whoo! And it has Peter Dinklage in it. Peter fucking Dinklage. He is the man. If you don't watch Game of Thrones, you probably should, because he's the man. Next is Guardians of the Galaxy. This is a movie that people were hyped for, because it was something fresh and new. It had a talking tree in it. It said 3 words in an exclusive order, I am Groot. Had a talking raccoon, outer space, crazy 70s music, which I cannot stop listening to the soundtrack of this movie because the soundtrack for the movie is impeccable. It's the highest grossing summer movie of the year. Who would have thunk that was going to happen? But anyway, it's just one of those movies that is captivating audiences from young to old. And when you can captivate audiences that are kids and also adults like my parents or older, I think the movie's doing something right. Finally, we have Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Now, obviously, you could tell from like my past picks, and if you just know me in general, I'm a big Marvel fan. I love superheroes. I love Spider-Man, but Spider-Man's on my list. Ugh! Anyway, Captain America, the first movie, it was good, but it could have been so much better. This movie, however, knocked it out of the park. Like, if you didn't like Captain America with the first movie, you definitely like him now. The Winter Soldier character is a badass. Captain America Steve Rogers is a badass. The story for this movie is very captivating. It's very thriller-esque. It's political. It's dark. I can't praise it enough. Along with the other 2 movies I've mentioned previous to this, Guardians of the Galaxy and X-Men. If you haven't seen Captain America 2, even if you didn't see the first one, watch it, because it's definitely worth your time. Turning the tables to you guys, though, do you agree or disagree? What is your top 10? What are movies that are in your top 10 for the year so far that I didn't see yet? I know I didn't see this movie. There's a movie called Boyhood that apparently is a great movie. It's a movie that was filmed from the course of 2002 to now. But aside from that, any movies that you saw that you really liked and you want to recommend, talk about it down below. What'd you think of my list? Isn't my list awesome? If you didn't like it, then you could tell me too, but don't be rude about it or I'll fucking hate you. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel so you'll never miss a video from me ever again. I'm John Maffio, aka MaffmanJones, and hopefully the rest of the year surmounts to something great, because so far 2014 has been really good for the most part. Disappointing in other areas, Spider-Man 2, but other than that, solid. And I'll see you guys next time.